Welcome to Mr. UFC Vegas Fight Club TV. I am Kyle, your host. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the prediction show for UFC 229, Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. We're going to get into our free play on this card. We're also going to talk a little bit about our best bet play that we had at UFC Fight Night 137 and our overall feeling on this card coming up Saturday night in Las Vegas. But before we do not forget to subscribe, head kick the bell icon, get involved with Fight Club TV. It's a growing UFC and gambling channel all in one spot. And also do not forget to follow me at Twitter at MrUFCVegas. And as well as one other quick note before we get into everything else is a lot of you guys have really been asking me how to donate to the channel. Now, I appreciate everyone who's been purchasing the last play that we had, and there's people that actually now want to donate to the channel. I really appreciate that, and you know, it's overwhelming that people want to continually support this channel, so I appreciate that. The link will be in the description down below to donate to the channel if that's what you want to do. You do not have to purchase any of these picks. You do not have to donate to the channel. I'm continually always going to provide free content here on Fight Club TV. I appreciate everyone who subscribed, everybody who bought the last best bet play at Wager Talk. So I appreciate all the support. It's been phenomenal. All the positive feedback from everybody has been great. So I appreciate all of that. And now let's get into the plays. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the best bet play that we had at UFC Fight Night 137. The best bet play was on Thiago Santos to defeat Eryk Anders. We had 2 units on Thiago Santos, and very quickly going over this because we actually did go over this. I will put a link as well. Our best bet play, our bet review show that we had on our best bet play, which was on this fight. You can check that out on the channel. But real quickly going over it, we had Thiago Santos to defeat Eryk Anders. And in this fight here, basically, my biggest thing was the skill set that Thiago Santos has. I mean, there is no doubt his skill set compared to Eryk Anders are miles away. Just the combinations he can work, the kicks, the front kicks, the leg kicks, the heavy strikes up top that he has. He's just very well-rounded. On the ground, he's got great ground and pound. He's just very well put together as a fighter. Sometimes he overextends himself in spots and can get a little messy, where you did see against David Branch. But in general, his body of work is phenomenal. And the way that he strikes is very dynamic compared to Eryk Anders, who Eryk Anders definitely is a raw talent and young within mixed martial arts as a whole. He's a tough kid. He's got a lot of ability, but you really take a look at it, you know, his wrestling is good and he does have some power, but the last fight prior to this was really the trigger for me that I did not like Eryk Anders. There's a few reasons why I didn't like him. Obviously, one of the biggest ones was against Tim Williams in his prior fight when he fought him. It was supposed to be a fight that really Eryk Anders was supposed to obliterate Tim Williams and just finish him in the first round, maybe second round, and that's basically it. And just a one-sided, lopsided win to really build that brand and really see where Eryk Anders is. And in that fight, it was a close fight. It was a close fight up until basically that third round. And if you really take a look at Eryk Anders, he was battered, but he was starting to win going into that third round. But that first round, I think he lost. Second round was tight. Third round, getting into that round, it was one that Eryk Anders did land a big head kick to finish him, but people only remembered that. Also, Eryk Anders coming on short notice, up one division. Just a lot of things were playing against him in this fight. I think down the road, Anders can really be a solid fighter within the UFC. But in this fight with Santos, I mean, he really just overextended himself trying to get those takedowns. He was pushing and pushing and pushing. And yes, he was getting, you know, yes, he was getting hit, but he had just, his gas tank was just not there. He was losing the stand-up game. He knew he had to take him to the ground, and every time they stood, Santos was just peppering him with combinations. He looked overwhelmed, and he was doing great with the pressure, but at the end of the day, if he's not going to land that shot in that first round, there was no doubt that he was not going to be able to beat Thiago Santos in the long run in that fight. So we're able to get that victory. Thiago Santos does win. That now puts our best bet. We had 2 units on that. Our best bet now is 24-10. We are plus 22.73 units for the year, now at 71% with no bets on fighters higher than minus 190. That, again, we're looking for those value plays. We're not looking for those, you know, minus 500 and you're laying a lot of juice to get a lower amount back. We're looking for those solid plays that are going to make sense, where we really can find a fighter that is going to be able to expose another fighter, and the line is not dictating that. So that is what we're looking for as our best bet play. So again, 24 and 10 plus 22.73 units, 71%. That play was my first play that I had on Wager Talk for sale, and that was a $5 play. And I appreciate everybody who did purchase that. And again, when you do make that purchase, and I will have the link down below to my profile on Wager Talk. But all you have to do is you go on there. You will get a free play, which I'm about to discuss on the, for UFC 229. But you will get a free play as well as one for purchase. And you go in there. If you do make the purchase, you will then at that point take a look, and you will get a paragraph, 2 paragraphs, a short write-up on my thoughts of the fight and who's going to win or lose. And you can now even take a look at that once the fight's over. It's there for viewing, whether I win, whether I lose. It is there for viewing as well. So take a look. You can take a look at the write-up. Take a look at the site. It's a fantastic site. A lot of great handicappers from all different sports. So definitely take a look at that. So what we will do now is we will get into the free play for UFC 229. Really excited about this card. I mean, obviously there's some great fights on here, but one that I really liked and one that I'm really taking a look at for the free play is going to be the co-main event. And now, for me, normally I'm not looking at ones that are going to be, you know, always the best bet plays are going to be minus 190 and lower. Always going to make sure that value here is. But in the co-main event between Anthony Pettis and Tony Ferguson, this fight here, you take a look at these two guys, and I really feel that you know, there's a lot going on here. I mean, definitely a lot going on here. You've got Ferguson, who was injured, was going in for, you know, with the interim title belt, trying to fight Khabib, gets injured. He gets injured falling over a wire on media day or whatever it may be, at some press conference that he was at. He tears ligaments in his knee. He's out. He's coming back now. How is that going to really dictate what happens in the cage? And you've got Anthony Pettis here, who comes off a victory, choking out Michael Chiesa. Looked pretty good in that fight. So you've got two guys here, definitely big time, you know, elite guys within the lightweight division. But if you take a look now, the big thing for me, obviously first when we're looking at Anthony Pettis, you take a look, he's got dynamic striking. I mean, his kicks, his combinations from the outside, and he continues to improve his ground game. That's been something that we've seen in a couple other fights, that he doesn't have that really strong ground game to really mix in with that fantastic striking that he has. I mean, he is, without a doubt, one of the top strikers within that division. When you're standing with him, he is lethal with the combinations, and there's no doubt that he's been able to do that throughout his career. Now, you take a look at someone like Tony Ferguson. He's very different, very great standing, very unorthodox, but for me, the big thing is he's a lot more well-rounded than Anthony Pettis, and he's very well-rounded, with his strikes, he more disguises those strikes very well, and you're not really sure the angle that it's coming at, which has always confused a lot of fighters. And he is, in the UFC, Ferguson, including when he was on The Ultimate Fighter, has won 14 straight UFC fights. I mean, that is phenomenal. That is honestly phenomenal for a guy within this division that has beaten a lot of tough fighters. That is very, very extraordinary for a guy. Although he's coming back from this injury, which is going to be a question mark, I still think he's got a lot of leverage in this fight. Now, the thing that I don't like about Pettis is the fact that you take a look at Pettis. Pettis is a big name, and he has been world champion. He has beaten some great fighters, but out of his last 7 fights prior to the Chiesa fight, he is 2-5. So really, out of his last, so he's really 3-5 in his last 8. But prior, I mean, that's not good. I mean, you're looking at it, that's not very good. Now, the guys that he beat was Jim Miller and Michael Chiesa out of those last 8 fights. So that is not, you know, he's losing to those elite guys, but he's beating, you know, Chiesa. You know, I think he's good. I think that he can still progress within the division, but I'm not huge on Chiesa. Jim Miller on the other side, I mean, everyone knows at this point, although Jim Miller just did come off a victory, but he has been on the downturn too. He has been in so many wars, that guy, and very, very, you know, a long time veteran within the UFC. So beating him, I'm not going to give too much towards that, but you take a look at the guys that he's lost to more of the elite guys. in my opinion, Tony Ferguson is without a doubt an elite guy who is ready to fight the winner of the main event. So I think that he is really, at this point, he deserves that title shot. But this is a fight that, without a doubt, Ferguson should be able to overwhelm Pettis throughout the fight, throughout the rounds, and not have a problem if he needed to take him down or smother him against the cage. And with the elbows and knees that Ferguson has, and he can just cut your face up with that attack, it's very tough for a guy like Pettis who needs that space, who's going to really need that space to work, to dictate his cage movement, to really be able to bounce in and out and work those combinations. If he's not able to do that, and Ferguson comes in tight and really gets the dirty boxing, I don't really see any way that Pettis can get this victory. And right now, Ferguson is a -320. At this point, as my free play, it's worth paying up. I think it's honestly worth paying up at this point. I think that he can definitely get the job done. I think not only will he get the job done, I think he could finish it or at least have a dominating decision victory against Anthony Pettis. I don't really see a way that Pettis can stand and just consistently trade with Tony Ferguson for 3 rounds. I don't really see that happening. I just see a dominating performance for Ferguson. Ferguson is hungry, he's ready, and he knows he is on the brink of some big payday fights, that this one is the one that's standing in his way. And I just think at this point, Anthony Pettis is on the downturn. I mean, if he didn't get that victory against Chiesa, I mean, you know what? And then at that point, he's, 2-6. Or 1-6 in his last 7. So that's, that's not good statistics. That's not a good trend for where he's going. I think he's a fantastic fighter, but this is going to be way too much for Pettis to take on. So I am definitely going to be betting Tony Ferguson to get this victory in the co-main event. Very excited about that fight. Of course, also very excited about the main event as well. So there you have it, guys. There is the free play. The best bet play for this event is now on Wager Talk. And we will actually now be, for this event, it's a big event. We are charging $20 for this best bet play. Take a look. Go on. Take a look at the free play that we just talked about. There's a little write-up there I have, as well as you can take a look at some of the other handicappers. $20 for the best bet play at UFC 229. And I want to let you guys know also that I will be attending UFC 230. Bought tickets. Still no main event. Kind of crazy that there's no main event at this point. There's some great fights on that card. The main card is fantastic. But I'm really looking to see, and let me know what you guys think. Who do you guys think is going to be the main event? I was really pushing for at this point. I was looking for possibly after Woodley beat Till. I was really looking to say this is going to be a Woodley and Covington main event. It's going to be fantastic. And now it sounds like Woodley's hurt. There's other conversations. There was a John Jones and Gustafsson possibility, and then there was they've been going back and forth with what they're going to be doing. They actually just may elevate Poirier and Nate Diaz for the main event, which is still a fantastic fight also, but kind of crazy where we are at this point, where we still have no main event, and I already purchased tickets. So hopefully they step up a little bit there. So that is that, and let me know what you guys think, what you guys are betting, and again, take a look, go on a Wager Talk. I will have now today released for purchase my best bet play, and again, the best bet play is 24 wins, 10 losses, plus 22.73 units for the year. We're at that 71%. The best bet play again will be will be on a fighter below -190. And again, we've had multiple plus odds best bet plays like Tyron Woodley. Also, Tyron Woodley was a plus 120. We had Michael Johnson prior to that was a plus 115. We had Dustin Poirier defeating Eddie Alvarez, and that was another plus 125 play. So we've had a bunch of great value plays as our best bet play. Check it out. Go on a Wager Talk. And, again, you purchase it, you don't purchase it. Don't worry. We're always going to be having a free play here, as well as free content and free conversation that we're going to be having regarding UFC and gambling all at once. So also, if you want to donate, take a look. Go down to the description if you feel free to do that. Again, you do not have to, but I do appreciate all the support that I have been receiving from the community here and from everybody that has really gravitated towards this channel. And again, we're a young channel and we continue to grow, so I appreciate all the support. And that is it. I will see you at the next show, and this is Mr. UFC Vegas, Fight Club TV.